Hey, welcome back to front end design, and just uh, just like we started talking about layout of a website. So now today we'll be diving to the code section of it. So we'll be writing some code. So first, let me just bring my text editor here and just go directly to the point of creating the folder that we'll be using then writing our code. So in the previous video we talked about basic layouts and their patterns. We talked about analyzing your UI. We talked about the sidebar, all those key components, all the key section in CSS in website layout. So next, just like I said, I will be writing code now. So let's just go to have a folder called playground. I'll just make a directory called let's just save web front end. Just call it web front end, and I will cd to it. Then this is where we'll start writing our code, right? Yeah. Let me move this guy out. So I make use of VS Code a lot, so that's why I'm using it. But you can use any text editor or IDE of your choice, but I love using VS Code. Just make everything simple for me. So I'm currently in the folder right now. Then I'll create an index.html, just like you know. Actually, this course is not for absolute beginner, so I assume that you already know some basic of CSS and HTML. So that's why I'm not talking about them right now. So this is like the basics of HTML, CSS, where you create your HTML document, then you have your HTML code in it. So like this is like a basic HTML structure. So what do we use HTML for? So HTML is used to lay out your content on your website, right? And the CSS, you use the CSS to style it, to make it look beautiful, right? So we'll be writing like basic CSS. If you remember, we talked about writing a progressive pattern of designing your front end, whereby you just write each element based on how they're supposed to lay out to be, so that by the time you don't, your CSS is not working properly, your HTML will still be properly laid out very well. So we use your HTML to lay out your content. So that's what we'll be doing. So I'll just do it in a random way. Then we'll now um, talked about grouping them, just like you know I talked about how you just group them based on relationship, right? So you know the first thing we have the header, the name and menu items, right? So we'll just do normal list item, right? So we'll say home here, just do this very fast. Then we'll say about, then we can just say services here, right? So just like your menu item, then the next part is your banner, right? Where you have your image, right? So just put the image here. We'll see, just call it banner, and just say our banner image as the item. So this your alt will be the thing that will render when your image is not seen. So we just put our banner image, right? This is like the easy way. Then you have our text, right? So you just write our text. So I'm just trying to like redesign this. So let me just take this text here, right? And come back to our editor and just write text. You know, that's how most people just do it. So then we'll talk about how we structure them. So the next thing is the next part where we have another, we have our button there. So let's just put the button. See button. So we have two buttons. So the first one is become a dev, right? The second one become a partner. So that's like two buttons. So let's just stop here. As we go further, we'll be adding content to it. So if you look at how this content is laid out, they are not actually grouped in a way whereby when you're styling it, it's very easy for you to just style and have relationship tiles to each section of the website. So we'll be grouping them using like the HTML5 sectioning element. We talked about HTML5 sectioning element. We talked about the aside, the article, the header, the footer, the nav, the section. So we'll be using them now to like group our content on this website. So let's start from the top, just like we started. So at the top here, if you notice, this is our menu item, right? It's supposed to be in a navigation tag, so we are grouping them based on relationship, right? Like I said the first time. So we have now here, so I'll now move this content into our nav, right? You see, it's actually making sense, right? See, now we have all our nav item, can put any other thing that we want to put there. And now if you notice that this image is not standing on its own, right? There's no relationship, it's not grouped with this text. But if you look at the design, you notice that the text and the image, they're actually working together. So let's just try to put that on. For our text, you don't just write text like this, right? You try to put them in an HTML tag, so that by the time you don't have, or your CSS is failing, your website will still render very well on your online. So instead of having this text, let's just put this text in an HTML element. So let me just say put it in our heading 1. Then I'll take everything here, put it in our heading 1 here, right, and save. So we want to group this just like I talk about the HTML5 sectioning element. So we'll be using section here. I'm using section here. So I'll move these guys into this section, right? Then let me just take this text up, and so you see it's actually making a lot of sense now by grouping those items. Now the next part is button, right? And this button is also, if you look at it, is also in this section. This is with this our text, which is our opportunities waiting for you, and this two button, and I'll probably add this text to here. Maybe I'll just call it P for paragraph, right? Just paste it there. Then it's our image. Probably you might end up changing the position of the image, or we might not use the image directly in this part, but let's just leave it now here. Let's leave it here. So let's move this button, right? This is our button. We don't need this. So let's move this button into the section because they are actually together. Now if you look at this thing, it's properly arranged, right? Don't you love it this way? So this is like a basic way you lay out your um your website, right? Now let's just try and render this on the browser. So let me just open it here. So just have this here. Cool. So because we don't have an image here, you notice that the banner image alt text that we have there is not there. If you observe, see, it's probably arranged, and this guy is making sense. But let's destructure it a little bit. Let's remove this heading tag and see. You just see it. You see that your text will just be a mere text, right? You see, it's not making a lot of sense here. So let's put back our H1 tag. So as we go along, this is how you lay out. Sorry about that. So this is how you lay out your website. Now you can decide to even go further by grouping all these guys to be your header, right? You have what we call the header tag, and you can just say, let me take all this guy and put it here, right? So you have the header. So there's another tag which is used for the main content. If you observe, like this is like the basic content, like the first content. Then let's just go by adding this main for like putting your main content on your website. So and if you look at this website, the way it's structured, so the next part, you notice that now we are having another section. So we can decide to use the section elements to do that. So let's just take this, right, copy it, come here and just say, so we are, that looks like an heading, right? So but this one is the heading 1, so we can decide to make this heading 2 or heading 3, so that it will move from ascending order down. So because your first text, the first heading used to be like the biggest, then the next one will go down gradually depending on how you decide to lay out your website. So let's just have another section here so that by the time we are styling them, it's very easy. So we will not be leaving this text like this just like we did in the first place. So let's just give it heading 2. So we can take this text, put it in the heading 2, right? That's good. Then the next thing is all these guys. So you see, if you observe, we have these guys like a paragraph one, the first paragraph, while this is like the second paragraph. So let's just put them in a p tag. So we have our p tag here. Put our first paragraph. Okay, yeah. Then the second paragraph. So let's get the text. Put it there. Boom. So we have our first paragraph. So like this is how you lay out your content. So in the long run, when you want to start, it's very easy for you to just say, okay, you take this section, and if you want to even write the name, like your class name and your ID name, it's very easy for you to follow the BEM standard way of writing your HTML classes on your elements, right? BEM is block element modifier. So we'll be talking about that. So I'll show you how to write that in your class, how to name your class in that way. So that's the standard most people use in writing out their codes. So the next part is another section where we have image. We have this looks like having like a different card. So we can have 1, 2, 3. So we can just do one and duplicate it here, or probably if I use JavaScript in the long run, we can loop over and just have a giant array that have objects inside. Then each object represents each card, so we just loop over the array and populate it. So anytime we want to change it, it's very easy for us to change it anywhere we are changing it. So this is like the next section, so let's just do that. So let's call this another section. We have the image, so just put let's see, let me see what it's called. This is just like this description, right? So let's call it description. Just call it, you can call it anything you want. So I'm just trying to follow the content. So you can call this guy description. You can say this is your description. So description image, right? So you can decide to, you notice that this guy, they are standing on their own, so we can decide to even go further by using div, right, and put our image inside, because the image is standing on one side and the text standing on another side. So we can be able to put another div that will contain all these guys. So in these guys, you can say create another div for the items, right? So you can say div here. Then we have inside, we have another image which stands out, our logo. So we just have image here. So you say logo, you can just say logo 1. So after the image is like another heading, right, inside. So we can give it heading 4. Let's say it's our heading 4. So just take the text here, put it here, paste it. Then the next, say it's our paragraph. So that's like that. Yeah. So put it here as our paragraph. So I will just stop here so that video, I'll put the rest content, then we'll continue. Then we'll be talking about how we start styling. So let's just see how it looks like. So you see, everything is looking cool, right? See, so this is your opportunity part. So this is looking as if they are having the same heading. So this one is heading 1. Why the next one is heading 2? Can we just make it heading 3 so that it will be over? Alright, now that's good. And this heading 4, can just make it to be heading 5, right? Oh, sorry. So let's just turn this guy to heading 5. Yeah. So okay, this one we actually change it to heading 3. So make sure you have the same tag name. So that's that. So it's looking like that. Probably we'll take this guy to heading 4. It's looking too small. So that's that. So I'll stop here. I'll put the rest content inside, then we'll talk. Then I will now go into writing our styles, basic styles, and that's how I'll get to learn more about layout. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.